We said, hey, are you playing Ashiok? Of course he's playing Ashiok.
He loves an Ashiok.
Gerard.
Loves Ashiok. 2 copies in the main deck.
He loves Esper too, and he is 5-1 right now, playing against Snook, playing green aggro. A matchup that oftentimes actually favors green-white, I have found.
Though, I think the black cards give Gerard a lot of play in the matchup. Even as a main deck Doomblade, which is very good here, of course. But the control matchups, it's interesting. Sometimes it looks like green-white aggro has an incredible matchup, and sometimes it just looks like a curve of creatures that get swept up by Supreme Verdict. There's a lot of volatility game to game, depending on what cards they draw.
Well, the last time we watched Snook, he was able to take down a blue-white control deck and actually overpower Elspeth over the course of what felt like 6 or 7 turns. So the deck can certainly go toe-to-toe with these Sphinx of Revelation strategies, depending on what they draw and when they draw it. The reason he was able to do that in Game 3 that we watched is simply because of Ajani and its power, as Ashiok is going to tick up right now.
This feels like a matchup where Ashiok might be pretty good.
I think so. That's a good reveal there. Soldier of the Pantheon and Lacranos are going to go underneath Ashiok. Header and Lorm also turned over. The reason Gerard is placing those creatures under there is just things that can come back with that particular Ashiok.
Yeah. Advent of the Worm, a spell, of course, so can't get that one back. But even if Adam decides to attack Ashiok this turn, Gerard has the option of getting back a Soldier of the Pantheon, which they can block Voice of Resurgence and still stay in play. So this is good stuff.
See what Snook has just for his 3rd turn of the game. See where Voice of Resurgence may want to go. It's going to go towards Ashiok. That's going to tick back down to 3. Follow-up play will be a Fleecebane Lion. Into play tap comes the Temple of Plenty. Take a look at the top card here. Will Snook. He's going to place that on the bottom before passing the turn back over to Fabiano, who will untap those 3 lands. We'll see if he has maybe a 4th one that taps for white mana. Maybe Supreme Verdict this turn, potentially a Jace as well.
This is also just not a bad spot for Gerard to say, get back the Soldier of Pantheon, use a kill spell on Fleecebane Lion and pass the turn back.
Yeah, that's not horrible either. Fabiano's build, he is without Planar Cleansing, and most of the time you see Planar Cleansing in just straight blue-white decks. You don't see it in Esper. He does have 4 copies of Detention Sphere.
Yeah, Gerard's very much playing to the board. You know, the 2 Ashioks, 3 copies of Jace, Architect of the Thought, a Jace Memory Depth, 2 copies of Elspeth, so no real room for Planar Cleansing in this list.
See Fabiano also in his 4th turn of the game. Looks like he has a Temple to play. Again, these Esper control decks are very Temple heavy, oftentimes playing 12 of them. As here is a Temple of Silence. Top card going to go to the bottom for Fabiano. This Ashiok is going to trend downward. Now maybe it's time for perhaps a Thoughtseize? It is, so take a look. See what Snook has in the grip. You see at least one Selesnya Charm. There's also a Bow of Nylea, not for this particular matchup, along with a Banisher Priest, a Loxodon Spider, and a Plains.
The Banisher Priest has oddly become relevant in this matchup.
Yeah.
Gerard with 0 creatures in his deck, but it's a pretty good spot potentially to Banisher Priest, get the Soldier out of the way, have it as insurance against the Sweeper.
I wonder what he's going to want to take. Bow Lightning is certainly going to stay in. Well, you don't want to select Loxodon Spider.
Yeah.
That would not be good. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh. That could have not been good. That could have not been good. Do not select the Loxodon Spider, Gerard.
That could have, if we ever do a worst of SCG Live segment,
yes.
that could have been a contender right there.
The SCG, not top 10. Taking 2 to put a 4/4 into play, huh?
We could set it to some Benny Hill music, you know?
Yeah.
That could be a really good. That could be a really good segment.
The old yakety sax.
Yeah.
Gerard going to go with Banisher Priest, a much safer option.
And maybe this was not ideal sequencing from Gerard. Perhaps he should have led with the Thoughtseize. Maybe he would have wanted to do something different with Ashiok this turn.
Tick up, maybe.
Yeah. Once you see Banisher Priest, it's hard to go and put the creature into play.
Kind of embarrassing when an Esper deck has to take Banisher Priest with the Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
It's I mean, he had no other choice really, but it's a little awkward, to say the least. Soldier Pantheon doing a nice job of holding down the fort right now. Protection from multicolor does come up quite a bit with that card, but it's not a card that Esper or blue-white control decks play very often.
Sometimes you see it in the sideboard as part of some conversion plan. It is very well suited to fight against green-white. There's a lot of gold creatures in that deck.
See what Snook wants to do moving forward here. Again, his hand's not all that great. He's got a Smiter over there, Bow of Nylea, a Selesnya Charm. Nothing too great going on over there for Adam. Looks like we're coming into the red zone here, so he's going to go after Ashiok. Soldier of the Pantheon going to block here. There's a Selesnya charm. See if Fabiano has anything maybe in response to this.
I would be surprised if Gerard fought over this at all, given that there's a Voice of Resurgence in play.
Yeah,
probably
the
just
text,
let
of
this
course.
stuff happen.
Yeah. Soldier of the Pantheon, of course, not going to die. But Ashiok will. And Look will go back to being exiled from the game, as Fabiano will untap. Does have, of course, 2 white mana if he'd like to cast Supreme Verdict. But he's done a nice job of working his way into the mid game here to high life total.
I think Gerard may want to set this up. This indicates to me he's probably going to go ahead and Supreme Verdict.
It feels that way, yeah. Maybe, or just maybe a very aggressive attack.
This feels a little early for him to be switching gears. So.
There's a Hallowed Fountain, and there is Supreme Verdict, so going to clear everything away. Voice of Resurgence will leave a token behind. But these are profitable exchanges for Fabiano.
Yes, and to a degree, yes, although the Ashiok did very little work at the end of the day.
Yeah, it kind of played like the role of, get a soldier, save a little bit of damage, and put damage towards Ashiok. So I feel like it kind of played the role of like a glorified moments piece.
Yep.
There was a sub game involving Ashiok.
Adam did have to use a Selesnya charm.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah.
But not one for Ashiok's highlight reel, that's for sure.
Oh, it's done better. So Fabiano's going to draw here. You saw Snook just drop down the Smiter after attacking for 2. Fabiano will play a Hallowed Fountain tapped and simply pass the turn back.
So you got to wonder if Gerard's building towards anything or if he's just kind of flooding out.
Perhaps a Rev.
Well, you think if he had Rev, he would have played that Hallowed Fountain untapped. It feels like this is a spot where you want the extra card.
Can afford to take the 2.
Yeah.
Snook plays a Forest. Going to add some mana here. What do we got? We got a Bow and Nylea, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of text on that one, so we will take a look at it.
Not the best suited for this matchup, most likely, but
It's bold.
Without him flooding out a little bit, it'll probably do some amount of work.
Yeah. Limited All-Star. Of course, that creature you control have death touch. Choose one, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Or the bow deals 2 damage to target creature with flying, or you gain 3 life, or put up to 4 target cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library in any order. 4 modes on this powerful card. There's an Azorius charm to take care of the elemental token.
4 modes, none of them especially good in this matchup.
Correct.
Magic players, we have 1 spot left.
Revelation going to go in the main phase here for Fabiano for 3.
And 2 spots left.
You have to imagine that this one is trying to hit a land, and it does in Temple of Enlightenment.
The next modern winner box.
Fabiano happy with what he saw. He lose that card on top before passing the turn back over to Snook. Snook with his Smiter and his bow, going to play a Temple Guard. You can see the green-white player here flooding out quite a bit. Going to activate bow, make Smiter into a 5/5, come across here. 4/5, Fabiano's going to go down to 8.
It was a very fast untap from Gerard here.
Yes, it was.
I think he's probably got a lot to play with at this point.
I'm just going to pass the turn back. Snook going to play a Selesnya charm for a creature. Fabiano, 8's not a ton against green-white. Green-white can do a lot of damage.
He does have some range. This build doesn't have main deck Mistcutter Hydra or Johnny Caller of the Pride. But there is still range in the form of Boon Satyr.
Dissolving this. Gonna leave the top card on top before passing the turn back to Snook. You have to imagine Fabiano has a removal spell here. In for 5 we go. There's Azorius charm. Leave that card on top. See if Snook has a follow-up. He does. It's the Sword of the Pantheon. I'm going to pass the turn back with the ability to activate Bow of Nylea on the end of Fabiano's turn.
This might be the backbreaker right here with Gerard setting his mana aside like that.
Is that a giveaway?
Potentially.
Well, the activation is going to make Soldier of the Pantheon a little bit bigger. Going to make it into a 3/2. Going to come into the red zone here. Fabiano, no blocks. Attack for 4. Fabiano's going to go down to 4. I think you have to deploy the Smiter, and you do. And here's a Rev. That'll be for 5. Fabiano's going to back up to 9. But more importantly, going to drive 5 cards.
And now at this point, you feel Gerard only needs to find a sweeper or Elspeth to lock this one up.
Yep, that's what it does feel like. Elspeth can tick down and take care of those creatures. It can tick up to make 1/1s. And Supreme Verdict will do a nice job of just clearing everything up. There's a detention sphere over there in Fabiano's hand, which can't take care of the bow or the Smiter. Of course, cannot take care of the soldier right now. due to having protection from multicolor. Here is 4 mana. That's a Jace. That's going down. So we'll take a look at a D-Sphere, a Temple of Deceit, and another D-Sphere. Fabiano already reaching toward his mana. Gonna take the D-Sphere and the Temple, so the singleton D-Sphere will go on the bottom. Let's see if Gerard has a verdict here or not. Or maybe he was just hunting for one.
You can about wrap it up if he's able to have it. If not, the game might proceed.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of Gerard's defensive measures don't work against Soldier of the Pantheon. Detention Sphere, of course, doesn't. Azorius Charm. So he can randomly kind of be left without a way to stop Soldier of the Pantheon. That can happen.
Yeah. Sphering the bow is a little bit interesting.
I think this means he has to have Azorius Charm for the Smiter.
Yeah.
That's, I believe, what this indicates.
Here he comes. A shrugging of the shoulders. You gotta go down to 1?
He's just waiting to see if Adam wants to use a Boon Satyr,
Yeah.
a Pump Spell, try to get a little bit more.
Yeah, there's the charm. Gonna put Smiter back on top, but Fabiano will take 4, go down to 5. And there's a Fleecebane line with the ability to make it monstrous right now. All right.
I think Gerard wants to wait there because if Adam draws Selesnya Charm, he might go for it, and he can only target the Smiter.
Yep.
So Gerard can get a little bit more.
And you have to imagine if it was Selesnya Charm, he is going for it.
Yeah.
Because he wants to win. Does not want to play more turns. There's a Temple. Then with the top card to the bottom.
This is potentially a repeat of a game 3 we saw from Adam earlier where Fleecebane Lion just caused enough problems to steal a game that kind of had no business winning otherwise.
Devour Flesh, Supreme Verdict, and Watery Grave. Not a bad couple of cards to turn over.
Well, the Devour Flesh might give him the answer he needs if he has something that can stop this soldier.
Mm-hmm. Fabiano going to reorganize his mana here before he decides which cards he wants to take. It can be the 2 of Devour Flesh and Watergrave, or just the singleton Supreme Verdict. But as you mentioned, Fleecebane Lion is causing some problems yet again. Its intended purpose is coming true.
It's happening here. Gerard with 3 copies of Devour Flesh in his main deck.
That's a lot of those.
He's more equipped to handle this card than most, even from this position. But he has to have enough removal first to be able to even get to that spot. It's not clear he does.
So he's a little unsure. Setting up his mana here. And he's got, another D-Sphere in his hand, but that's not going to help any right now.
Answer is neither threat in play.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like he may go with the verdicts. Potentially. No? So verdict's going to go to the bottom. D-Sphere, Devour Flesh. And Water Grave will go to hand. And now here is Devour Flesh. So I'll take care of the soldier. Snook will gain some life. That is relatively irrelevant right now. And then Fabiano's going to go reaching for some mana here. There's a Jace. That's going to tick up, and it may see who he wants to mill. He's going to mill himself. Fabiano, very Planeswalker heavy build.
Yes.
In comes Snook for 4. Fabiano's going to go down to 1.
8 total on his list once you count the Ashiok.
There's a Smiter. Fabiano's going to have to find something that can help him here. Again, Elspeth's the best draw. As Elspeth oftentimes is. So Temple of Silence is going to take a look at the top card here. Will Fabiano left that one on top.
And it's just, can Adam steal this game with these threats that Gerard kind of randomly can't handle? Because if this Fleecebane Lion dies, that's it.
Yeah, get that
Gerard
off
has so many resources to work with here.
But getting that off the table is virtually impossible now. Very close. I mean, Devour Flesh is, of course, the way to do it. It's very tough to do. Gerard going to organize a bunch of his mana here. This feels like it's a D-Sphere. So, yep, that's going to take care of the Smiter. Jace is going to tick up. He's going to draw this card. I think he's just deciding who he wants to mill.
I don't know if there's any Graveyard Matter stuff in these green-white decks at any point. I'm not sure if there's any cost to milling Adam.
Gerard may just have some interest in milling himself. He's going to mill Adam. That's a pretty good mill. Boonsader's a good mill. Fabiano just going to pass the turn back. So it looks like what Gerard's turn right now is to rev for 4 to blank this. Yeah. That's what he's going to do. He's going to rev for 4 and hope that Adam didn't draw any way to pump the fleece main line. 3 and 4.
You see Gerard didn't mill over a Boonsader last turn.
What is this? Just another Loxodon Spider. Actually pretty important that he milled that Boonsader.
Oh yeah, that's lethal. I still don't know if Gerard's found a way. Oh, there's the Elspeth. I was about to say.
Found it.
Finally found it.
Yeah. That's the missing piece to the puzzle. See if Fabiano going to reorganize his mana here. It's time to deploy the Sun's champion. Elevator going up. 3 soldier tokens incoming.
Now he has Dissolve, Azorius Charm. He can actually just start going to work on Adam's deck if he's feeling so inclined.
Yeah, press the 0 button.
Yeah.
Start to mill with that Jace.
Maybe that's why I'm not a blue control player.
Okay.
With Jace, all I want to start doing is Fate Sealing like immediately.
With
in a lot of
the
spots.
Mind Sculptor?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Mind Sculptor. Jace 5 over here, I just want to start blowing up their deck as soon as I get a chance to, you know.
What's your life total? 38 cards? That's cool.
Well, Gerard's discarding to hand size anyway, so.
Sure.
I just want to cut off the number of draws that Adam has here, but with Dissolve backup, Gerard's most likely safe.
You like to be aggressive. That's fine.
Got to worry about the clock, too, you know? There's factors.
Yeah, it's true. And Snook is going to give up in the face of Elspeth. So Gerard Fabiano is going to win game number 1 here over Adam Snook. Esper control barely hangs on, taking down Green-White aggro.
When I Fate Seal with Jace, I refer to it as bolting them. You know, you're just like going at them.
Doesn't really feel like a lightning bolt.
It's close enough. It's the same thing.
No,
Target you.
Yeah, that's about where the similarities end. We'll take a look at the sideboards here. I got Snook in front of me. 4 Mistcutter Hydras are going to join the party again, just like we saw last time. I also expect to see Banishing Light. There are 2 copies of those. There are also 2 copies of Glare of Heresy, so a pretty easy 8 for Adam to bring in. He also has 2 Banisher Priests, 2 Giftor Resolve, God's Willing, and 2 copies of Last Breath. Wouldn't be surprised to see that God's Willing come in too.
Yeah, there's enough stuff going on in the matchup. You know, Gerard's shown a lot of copies of Azorius Charm and Attention Sphere and so forth, so I think you get a matchup coming in. It's also not bad to beat an Elspeth. You know, you get into those spots sometimes where Gerard has to tap out for Elspeth and God's Willing can generate lethal there as well. On the other side, Gerard with an ultimate price, 3 copies of Nyx Fleece Ram and Ashiok, 2 Archangel of Thunes, 3 Night Veil Specters, 2 Duress, a Deicide, and 2 copies of Gainsay. I think that 2 copies of Archangel of Thune are totally reasonable to bring in here as well. Ultimate price, even though Adam has a lot of gold creatures, I think Gerard can reasonably assume that Mistcutter Hydra is going to be involved in the post-board games.
Yeah.
Advent of the Worm as well, so 1 copy seems like low cost. And I think that's going to probably do it. Maybe he wants a 3rd Ashiok as well. Not that it was particularly good in game 1, but there's enough spots where Gerard's going to be able to plus Ashiok, get a relevant 3-mana creature, play it, do some good work with it.
Well, you see Fabiano is number 11 right now on our Season 3 leaderboard. And of course, what the players are playing for is to qualify for the Players' Championship. Now, we've already got 4 players qualified. And Season 1, well, it's hard to forget Derek Sheet's awesome win of the Invitational and a great 5-game match against Jesse Hefner, winning with Esper Stoneblade, Esper Deathblade in the finals.
Pretty dramatic 5-game set. It looked like Derek was on the ropes there a few times, but was able to pull it out.
Sheet's winning the tournament, getting, of course, his Swan Song token. For your money, the best of the bunch.
For sure. My favorite of the bunch.
And Brian Braun to win. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, look at that.
There he is. How can you not love it, really?
That's great.
Brian Braun to win, of course, winning the overall points championship. He basically had it locked away. Something horrible had to happen to him to not be able to win. And of course, you remember that Invitational. He started the tournament 10-0.
Yeah, there was an XOOX scenario that took place, but that 10-0 start was pretty much good enough to lock up the Invitational berth anyway. So no big loss there.
And then for Season 2, we had Tom Ross really just destroy everyone, honestly.
It was quite the display, both in Standard and in Legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously Boss Sly we talk about now all the time in Standard, but his work in the Legacy portion with Infect was also pretty awesome to watch.
And for me, this is the best token.
Can't go wrong with it.
This is for me. This is the boss.
Now, what I like about choosing something like this is if you choose something like Swan Song, let's say, there's a defined cap on how many of those can really show up in a game.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a second Swan Song token involved in a game.
Very rare.
You're basically looking at just the one. This one, you go all the way up.
Yeah, I would have these and I would just throw them at people as I infected them.
Yeah. Just hurl at them, hurl them at them.
Here's 6 of those.
Yeah.
And then like when I overkill someone, I would just throw 6 more at them.
Yeah,
I know that's way too many, but here are 6 more.
Yeah.
That's how dead you are.
Just make it rain on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
To start.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You have so many.
Yeah, you have so many.
And of course, Chris Van Meter winning the players' overall point championship there for season 2. His lead was so large that he knew coming Invitational he was good to go for the players' championship. And I mean, he had one heck of a run during season 2.
I know he wanted to win an Open pretty badly, but a lot of top 8s and top 4s and finals appearances along the way.
So we've got 4, and we're looking for 12 more. 2, of course, will come here in season 3. Right now, Joe Lissette is leading the race as far as points are concerned for season 3, but that race is going to get pretty close, I think, as we make our way through, the next couple of tournaments here.
And Gerard's another player that's within striking distance with some good tournaments, and especially given his activity level on the IQ circuit. I think he has his heart set more on one of the 8 at-large bids at the end of the year. I think that's where Gerard thinks he's going to get the invite.
Mm-hmm.
But season 3 or season 4 is not impossible.
Both players can begin game number 2 here with Temples. We'll see what Snook has for turn number 2. You have to imagine he has something, and he does. Arguably the best card he can play in Voice of Resurgence. Fabiano with an island, and this is a Nyx Fleece Ram. Now, one thing about Gerard is, and this seems to be the case since I've been watching him play for the past couple of years, is that he likes to take rather proactive approaches instead of being reactive with a card like Last Breath. He'd rather just have this wall in Nyx Fleece Ram.
And I kind of like being a little more proactive, too, in the face of Voice of Resurgence.
Mm-hmm.
Just more things that allow you to profitably tap out on your own turn is pretty nice.
We saw when Snook played earlier, his opponent had 4 Last Breaths after sideboard and a bevy of other options. But Fabiano, he likes to get defensive, as you see a second Nyx Fleece Ram.
This card is pretty good against Fleece Mane Lion, that's for sure.
Yeah. And Boon Satyr. I'll be able to get through that. So now what Snook has to end up probably doing here is just keep extending his board, and then Fabiano can sweep it all away.
And if Adam cut his Selesny charms, he's in a ton of trouble against these walls.
Nyx Fleece Ram, it's a card that's on people's radar, but it's not really this popular card that when you lose, you're not like, he played a turn 2 Nyx Fleece Ram, and that's why I lost. Like that, and I think that's a reason why Snook may have cut his Celestial Charms. No guarantee of that, of course, just yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if he kind of got caught off guard here by Nyx Fleece Ram coming from Fabiano.
And now Adam's in an interesting squeeze. He had an Advent in his hand there, but does he want to Advent at the end of Gerard's turn, allowing Gerard to turn on a counterspell that Gerard really can't use otherwise in the face of this voice?
It looks like the answer was no. So here's a Temple of Plenty from Snook. He's going to leave that on top pretty quickly. He's going to play another copy of Voice of Resurgence. Fabiano going to gain some more life from the Rams, go up to 25, draw a card for the turn. Let's see if the Nyx Fleece Ram strategy is going to work out here for Gerard. Gerard going to play a Hollow Fountain on tap pretty quickly. And again, this is all about that proactive approach that Fabiano likes to take. Now he's coming after Snook from a different angle. You saw Snook leave Smiter on top of his deck. That's going to get milled over. So Fabiano has the opportunity to bring that back next turn if he'd like to.
It's a pretty impressive setup here. Gerard's got a lot of protection for these Planeswalkers.
See what Snook finds on his turn. Now, keep in mind as well, Fabiano willingly paid 2 life last turn when he didn't need to. So this would be pretty telling, I think. There are your blocks. Damage will be dealt. Ashak's going to go down to 3.
Now the game is progressing in such a way where Detention Sphere is backbreaking too.
Looks really good right now. That's for sure. There's a main phase Advent of the Worm. Fabiano going to take a look, make sure he knows exactly what that does. It'll be a 5/5 green worm with trample.
This is a non-intuitive play pattern here. Usually you see Advents at the end of the turn, but He wants to tax Gerard's ability to counter it because of the voices, and also because those counter spells are so bad on Gerard's, or by playing it on Gerard's turn, and because Gerard has the 2 Nyx Fleece Rams in play, and Adam has 2 copies of Voice of Resurgence, he's okay if he gets hit with a main phase sweeper.
Water Grave is going to come in, and this is the card that causes green-white problems all the time. In comes Elspeth, and away go those larger creatures. Ashiok's going to take up Soldier of the Pantheon, a Bramaz, and a Boon Satyr are all going to go underneath. And now Elspeth's going to start to probably dominate this game.
I have never seen this approach to this matchup, and Gerard is crushing Adam right now.
I like the approach to this matchup a lot because one of the things is that it doesn't make you reliant on Supreme Verdict, which is really nice, because that's actually kind of plays in the hands of green-white because they have Voice of Resurgence, they have Boon Satyr in a turn after you cast Supreme Verdict, they can do the same thing with Advent of the Worm. This particular version doesn't have Rootborn defenses, but that was something that they used to play to be able to trump Supreme Verdict. But this right now isn't about Supreme Verdict at all. Fabiano's just being very, very proactive. Snook going to play a Temple Garden and now play a copy of Soldier of the Pantheon. But Fabiano's at 25 life, and we're working our way well into the mid game now.
I was going to say, imagine if Adam drew a Rootborn defense this game. It would have been nonsense.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
Christopher Arns and Derek Jupiter.
See if Fabiano wants to keep ticking up here. He does not. He says, I would like a Bramaz if you don't mind.
Christopher Arns and Derek Jupiter, please come up to the stage.
One thing we know about Gerard, and here's another Planeswalker at Jace, is he loves Ashiok.
Yeah.
He's probably the leader of the Ashiok fan club. He's been playing Esper decks for what feels like months. He's been playing with Ashiok always, the entire time.
And once you have Ashiok in your deck, it makes a lot of sense to be bringing Nyx Fleece Ram in a lot of matchups you otherwise wouldn't. Adam just tapping.
Yeah, he's tapping out pretty early in the match, but I don't think there's any way for him to get back into this. I mean, he can't get through the Rams, he can't get through Bramaz. Ashiok's going up and down and all around.
He's done.
Yeah, same thing can be said for Jace, and I guess we forgot about Elspeth that was out there too. It's over, and Gerard Fabiano is going to win the match, move on to 6-1, defeating Adam Snook playing Grunt Aggro, a frowny face.